Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Just like the USC-UCLA game that we previewed yesterday, this Utah-Oregon game is not the top 10 matchup that we were hoping for. But it is still a very, very big game when it comes to the Pac-12 standings. This game, guys, in Eugene on Saturday night is practically a Pac-12 title elimination game. The loser, more than likely, out of that conference title race. The winner staying alive. Utah, guys, torched Oregon both times last year. They ruined the Ducks' playoff hopes last year and then beat them in the Pac-12 championship again, both in dominating fashion. Can the Utes do it again, or will Oregon bounce back following their loss to Washington and get revenge over the Utes and keep their title hopes alive? That is what we're here to answer and predict today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys, ready to analyze everything you need to know for this matchup between the Utes and the Ducks. Late night Pac-12 action on Saturday. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country for one of the lowest prices in the entire country, beating out over 80% of the national analysts and handicappers each of the last 4 years. Do not miss out on those picks, guys. Do not miss out on guaranteed winnings. Go sign up today. Get the link down in the description below. So let's take a look at this game, guys. Again, we thought it was going to be a top 10 matchup. We thought Oregon was still going to be in the hunt for the playoff, which would make this game a lot more intriguing, and then the Ducks went on to lose to Washington at home. So just like the USC-UCLA game, we thought that was going to be a top 10 matchup. Then UCLA lost at home to Arizona. Oregon here has lost to Washington. Still very important. Both games in the Pac-12 are very important, and we'll answer a lot of questions on who could play for that Pac-12 championship game. But the Pac-12 playoff hopes are slowly dwindling, especially if UCLA were to win this Saturday. But you take a look at this game, guys, between the Utes and the Ducks. A lot of history between these two squads. Both teams have played spoilers in the past. Oregon beating Utah a few years ago in the Pac-12 championship, ruining Utah's playoff hopes. Last year, Utah ending Oregon's playoff hopes late in November. No playoff hopes are at stake now, but Pac-12 title hopes are. You take a look at the offense, guys, and we'll start with Utah, a team that's averaging 39.5 points per game and is extremely balanced. One thing I love about this Kyle Whittingham squad. 252 passing yards per game, 210 rushing yards per game, led, of course, by the veteran quarterback Cam Rising, who has thrown for over 2,200 yards, 19 touchdowns, and just 4 interceptions. Has also added 6 rushing touchdowns in there. So 25 total touchdowns for Cam Rising to just 4 interceptions. Has a phenomenal core around him, none other than Tavion Thomas, though. The running back has 632 yards and 7 touchdowns on the year. This is a Utah team, guys, that, to me, isn't getting talked about nearly enough. You know, they had their lone loss earlier in the year was back to Florida in the Swamp, and then lost again to UCLA by 10. Those are only 2 losses on Utah's schedule. And they have won 4 straight games since that UCLA loss. Now, granted, they haven't been against world beaters by any means. They went over Arizona, Stanford, Washington State. But they've still won 4 straight games since that UCLA loss, and they still have a shot at the Pac-12 title, still have a shot to get back to the Rose Bowl. Lots at stake here when they travel to Eugene. You take a look at Oregon, guys. This is a team that is very, very electric offensively, and we knew that. Knew that coming into the game last week against Washington. This is a team that's averaging over 42 points per game, 288 through the air, nearly 240 on the ground, led by Bo Nix, who has seen such a resurgence in Eugene. You know, had a mediocre career at Auburn, transferred out to Oregon, reunited with offensive coordinator Kenny Dillingham, and he has been lighting it up. Over 2,700 yards, 24 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions. Also has 516 rushing yards and 14 touchdowns. So 38 total touchdowns to just 5 interceptions. Bo Nix has been the leader for Oregon, has been the reason for this 8-2 start. But they also have some great running backs. Bucky Irving, 831 yards, 2 touchdowns. Noah Whittington, 620 yards on the year. Bo Nix, 516 yards. You have 3 players, including your quarterback, that have rushed for over 500 yards on the year. That's how they've been so balanced. Teams not only have to respect the pass, they have to respect the run in a big way. And they have to even respect the quarterback running as well. That's why Oregon's offense has been so tough to stop, and why I think they're going to be tough to stop again this Saturday against this Utah defense. Utah's defense, guys, typically under Kyle Whittingham is pretty dang good. And that's been the case this year, I'd say. The Utes getting up just 20 points per game, just 206 passing yards per game, and only 121 on the ground. None of those bad marks by any means. They have 29 sacks, and they have 19 forced turnovers, including 10 interceptions. They've held each of their last 3 opponents to 20 points or less: Washington State, Arizona, and Stanford. This is a Utah defense that, of course, wants to dominate the line of scrimmage. They want to create pressure. They want to create pressure on the opposing quarterback. They want to get tackles for loss. They want to stuff the run. They want to force you into second and third and long situations, force you into bad decisions. The thing is, number one, Bo Nix doesn't really make bad decisions. He's taken very good care of the football this year. Number two, Oregon's offensive line is one of the best in the entire country. The Ducks have given up just 1 sack on Bo Nix this year. Bo Nix has been sacked 1 time. 1 time. The Oregon offensive line has done a phenomenal job this year, and it's going to be very interesting to see that battle in the trenches between a strong Utah defensive line and a strong Oregon offensive line. Whoever wins that battle, to me, wins the game. You take a look at Oregon's defense, guys. Dan Lanning, he's a defensive-minded coach. He was the defensive coordinator at Georgia last year when they won the national championship. He came out here to take this head coaching position with Oregon, and the defense has been mediocre. Mediocre at best. 27.4 points per game. That's what they're allowing. The weakness is the secondary. The Ducks are giving up 289.7 passing yards per game. That ranks about 118th nationally. They are doing horrible against the pass guys. And that showed last week against Washington, where Michael Penix and the Huskies torched that secondary for 408 yards and 2 touchdowns in a 37-34 road win at Oregon. They're only giving up 108 rushing yards per game. The run game isn't that much of a factor for their opponents. But the passing game, if you have a competent quarterback, you're going to air it out and have a field day against the Ducks. And that's what Oregon has to do in this game. Cam Rising is a competent quarterback. He's a complete quarterback. He has all of the pieces to go out there and torch this Oregon secondary, just like Michael Penix did, just like Plummer did at California, just like many other schools have already done, just like Stetson Bennett did all the way back in week 1. Oregon, guys, only has 15 sacks on the year. They don't have much pressure on opposing quarterbacks. They only have 15 turnovers on the year. 11 of those are interceptions. So the secondary giving up a lot of yards. They are finding ways to create turnovers through the air, and that's what they're going to have to do against Cam Rising. Force him into 1 or 2 turnovers, probably not through pass rushing, just errant throws. If Oregon can get 1 or 2 interceptions off of Cam Rising, I think they do win this game. I think they're able to convert offensively because that's how much faith I have in Oregon's offense, guys. They are so dang hard to stop. And even Washington last week really couldn't stop the Oregon offense. Yes, Washington won the game, but Oregon put up a lot of yards. I think it was over, 300 yards rushing? Still found a way to lose, unfortunately, on that 4th and 1 slip by Noah Whittington. But ultimately, guys, what's going to happen in this game, right? It's not the top 10 showdown we wanted, but it's still a revenge game. Oregon's still wanting revenge for what Utah did to them last year, taking away a Pac-12 title, taking away a potential playoff berth. They want revenge for that. Both these teams clearly want to still have a shot at winning the Pac-12 championship. They want to have a shot at making the Rose Bowl. The loser of this is pretty much out of that contention, out of that discussion. Ultimately, guys, I do think Oregon wins this game. A little dramatic pause there. I do think Oregon wins this game. A lot of people are going to say, how can you have them doing that? Utah's been hot. Oregon, is coming off this loss to Washington. They're going to be hungover. And that is a legitimate fear, right? That Oregon will enter this game hungover, devastated after their loss. Not the same team. I don't think Dan Lanning allows that to happen. I think there's a lot left ahead of this team. Because let's be honest with you. Did anyone really expect Oregon to make the playoff this year? No. The expectation in Eugene is to make the Pac-12 championship and to win it. If you go to the playoff, great. If not, you're going to the Rose Bowl. Dan Lanning, to me, in year 1 has kind of exceeded expectations in Eugene. All their goals are still set right in front of them. And you know how high I've been on Utah. I've been a very big Utah advocate all year long. I love this Utes team. But in Eugene, awful loss. I think Oregon is angry. I think they come out and in a high-scoring game because the Oregon defense won't be able to stop the Utah pass game. I don't think the Utes defense can do the same to Bo Nix, though. Bo Nix and Oregon delivers in the clutch, something they were unable to do last week. They come back and do this week. The Ducks win, keep their hopes of a Pac-12 title alive, and eliminate Utah, who back in the preseason, for many, was the favorite to win the conference. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Check those out. If you want guaranteed winnings right in your pocket, you need to go sign up today using that link below and become a part, guys, of course, of our GE Nation. Go check it out, again, right down there in the description. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.